everybody, welcome to the channel. Mike here once again, and I'm pretty excited. As you can see, it's an absolute gorgeous day. We're finally starting to get some weather break in Nashville here, and we've had a couple of days that are good. Usually it's pretty cold, but even the couple of days that have been good, unfortunately it's been during the week and I have to work or I'm out of town or whatever, so I'm not able to do any kind of update kind of video for you or any kind of video at all. But finally, it's a Saturday, it's gorgeous out. Tomorrow's going to be terrible again, of course, but it is Saturday, it's gorgeous out. I'm going to take an opportunity to create this video for you guys, and I know if you've been paying attention to my channel, if you've been looking or watching my stuff over on Facebook, you know that I have been working on the Stage 2 tune from RPM Motorsports, which is Martin Scott owns that company. And I have, as you know, the base Sky, it's not the turbo. And the Stage tune, I actually have it installed along with the high flow cat. And while I was down there changing all that, I actually added a dual exhaust from the Redline Sky as well, and obviously new tips. I gotta have the new exhaust tips, and I chose the quad tips, actually 2 on each side, and they look absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do in this video is going to explain a little bit about what the tune does and how I feel it performs and why I actually got it, and we're going to go ahead and take it for a ride so you can actually hear what the exhaust sounds like. And probably the tune might not have anything to do with the exhaust sound. Obviously the high flow cat and the Redline exhaust kind of help that out, but I want you to kind of hear how it works and go from there. So with that being said, I think a bug just flew in my hair, but anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and strap it down to the inside of the car and kind of explain how that tune works and how RPM Motorsports does that tune for you. Okay, so you might be wondering, what is the Stage 2 kit from RPM Motorsports? And basically the one that I got, and I know they have a Stage 2 and a Stage 3 for the turbo version, either the GXP for the Solstice or the Redline for the Sky, but I don't have that. I have the base normally aspirated 2.4, but the Stage 2 kit for the one that I got includes the larger fuel injectors, because the fuel injectors that are currently installed in the Sky in the 2.4, they're kind of small. You don't get a whole lot of fuel coming through them, and there's a maximum that you're going to get. So the Stage 2 kit includes larger fuel injectors, and then you can actually add an option of either a high flow cat or a cat and delete, and I went with the high flow cat because we do have emissions here in Tennessee. And you can also get a cold air intake as well, and I already had the cool air intake installed, so I don't have to worry about that either. And so the kit that I basically got was the larger injectors and the high flow cat, and of course no matter what, you're going to get a Stage 2 tune as well. And the really cool thing about that is it's actually done remotely by Martin Scott. So it's not like a canned tune that you might get some other place where they just, they send you a file on your computer and you upload it to your car and you're done. The way Martin Scott does it over at RPM, he actually remotely logs into the computer and does the tune right on your car right there. So you're basically able to get a tune for your exact environment, which is a lot better than just a canned one, because different places have different gas formulations and different temperatures, and there's a whole slew of factors that differ throughout the country. So you might as well go ahead and get something tuned, or get your car tuned specifically for your location, which is really cool. And what we did when we first started is, before I installed any of the injectors, changed out any of the exhaust, did anything, he needed to get like a base data from the computer, from the car. So what we did is, he logged in, downloaded pretty much the base system of what the car sees now, or seen at the time, and then I had to go and do some different driving and different little drills that he had me do, and I was able to do those drills while this computer was logging all the information in the background. So once he got that information, it's pretty much like I say, it's the base, he has that, and then I was able to go ahead and do the tune. One of the things I was going to try to do is actually show you what he was doing as he was doing it, but out of respect for him and the proprietary things that he does, I decided not to do that. And I can understand. I mean, obviously, somebody certainly with more knowledge than I have could easily go and take what I showed and kind of do it on their own, and they wouldn't need Martin Scott. But anyway, now we have the base tune. What we did is we went in and I did the installation. You'll see in a previous video, you'll see how I installed the injectors and how I swapped out the exhaust and the catalytic converter and all that other stuff. All right, and we got some police up here, so I got to slow down a little bit. Actually, I'm going to stop. I got a stupid rattle right here in my dash, and it's that little chrome piece. So I'm going to somehow stick something underneath there to get rid of that rattle. It's driving me crazy. All right, so where was I? Oh, so anyway, I went and I installed all of the injectors and the exhaust and the high flow cat and everything else. So now the car pretty much kind of would function, but it wouldn't function very well until it got tuned. So we went ahead and I called up, Martin Scott and told him we were ready to go. So he logged back into the computer, hooked everything up, kind of put the base system back in there. From what I understand, like I said, he's doing all this stuff on the computer. I have no idea exactly what he's doing. Otherwise, I'd do it myself. But from what I understand, he's kind of logging everything back in as the base. And I could be wrong. I mean, Martin, if you watch this video, let me know if I'm wrong. But then I had to go out and I did, do another drill with driving. And once he kind of saw what was going on with the different drills, when I say drill, it would be something like, for instance, going up to third gear to a certain RPM and then staying there, or going from a certain RPM up to a higher RPM and then staying there, and doing different kind of stuff like that, so he can get an idea of how the car's reacting in all these different situations. So I basically went and I did that one time. We came back, and then he went ahead and tweaked the tune a little bit. And I was actually installing everything. I was 3 hours away from home, installing stuff at a friend of mine's house. So that night, I went home, and then the next day, he went ahead and told me to go and do the driving drill type thing again. So I went and I did that. Came back, and what's really cool, like I say, he just kind of like logs in and he goes ahead and he tweaks the timing or the advanced timing or whatever he does, tweaks the tune a little bit more. And just to make sure it was done right, I went for, I believe it was a third time, and I went out and I did his little drills that he tells me how to drive. Come back again, looked at the data or whatever, and he may or may not have tweaked it some more. It might have been done from there. From what I understand, he kind of has the car go up to its limits, and then once the car starts fighting whatever he's trying to do, then he backs it off a little bit, and that's pretty much your final tune to make sure it's perfect. All right, so I guess the next question is, does it make a difference? I mean, can you actually feel a difference between the way it was before and the way it is now with the larger injectors and the tune and everything? And I can definitely say I can feel a difference. I mean, is it going to be the same as, slapping a turbo or a supercharger on there? Absolutely not. And I wasn't even expecting anything like that. But seat of the pants, I can feel it. What's really interesting is second and third gear is so much more responsive now and sounds so much better now. I know the sound is probably because of the exhaust and the high flow cat and everything else, but just if you add that along with it feels like it has more torque, in the lower end, and it comes on like steady. Like whenever I had the previous normal tune or whatever, and everything was like base, stock, it would pretty much be really, really sluggish. And then maybe when I got to about 3,500 RPM, then all of a sudden the engine came alive. Where now it's pretty much, as soon as I start taking off, it's up there. And then when I put it in the second, even if I'm not at the peak RPM, you can still feel it pulling a lot more in second. And the same things with third. I mean, it just feels like it's pulling you from the seat of your pants a lot better than it originally did. And again, like I said, it's not like a turbo. But it's definitely more responsive. Does it have more horsepower? I have no idea. It may or may not. One of the next things that I'm going to do is I'm going to get it dynoed so we can see if there's actually any difference. The stock horsepower that my car was doing when we dynoed it before was basically about 135 horsepower at the wheels. I know the engine's rated at 177, but they were pretty much, obviously testing the wheels. That's really what's more important anyway. So if I can go more than 135 at the wheels, then it definitely makes a horsepower difference. If nothing else, like I said, the drivability and the responsiveness and just the overall fun has just increased, tenfold for me, which is really cool. Is it worth it? For me, I would absolutely say yes, simply because I didn't want to go the turbo route. You know, that was first of all, my engine's a little bit older, and I'm not sure, it probably doesn't really matter, but I'm not sure if I want to slap a turbo on there. Maybe I will in the future. But for now, I just kind of want to enjoy the best that I can get out of this car for what the engine has in it. It's kind of like the difference between you waking up in the morning and being a little bit groggy and, not real energetic, to the middle of the afternoon whenever you're wide awake and you're ready to go. So you're the same person. It's just now you're kind of woken up and you're just ready to just take on the day. That's pretty much the way this engine is. I mean, now, before when I had it, it was always kind of groggy and kind of didn't have all that responsive, like, oh, I'm ready to go. Now it absolutely does, as you can hear here. Oh, and I got a slowpoke in front of me, of course. Highway speeds, I can feel a little bit more also, especially in third gear, whenever I'm trying to get, past somebody. Even fourth gear I can feel a little bit better as well. Like I said, it is a lot more fun. Okay, let's go from fourth gear. Definitely better than it was before. One of the things that I'm hearing a lot more of now that I never really heard before is the good old snap, crackle, and pop. Oh, here we go on our bridge. Oh, love that sound. There's the snap, crackle, and pop whenever I start slowing down, which sounds really, really cool now. I'm going to see if I can get it to sound like that. Maybe you can hear it, maybe you won't. Depends on the microphone here. Whenever I'm coming around this bend, usually does it best whenever I'm in first gear, and then obviously in second gear as well. I'm gonna get that sound for you. Don't worry. Let's see if we can get it. There it is. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hook the camera up to the back bumper and see if I can get that noise for you. Actually, one thing I did forget to mention is whenever I had the high flow cat and just the red line exhaust, even with the muffler, it was really loud. I mean, really loud. So basically I went to a muffler place who had to weld the tips onto the back anyway. And he put a resonator in between the cat and the muffler, and it sounds like phenomenal now. That really did the trick. I was hoping just a resonator was going to work, and it actually does. It's just loud enough to be aggressive, but not so loud that I can't talk to someone sitting next to me or have that horrible drone going on behind it. So that's one thing you may or may not want to do if you go with a high flow cat. I mean, God forbid you do a catless. That's going to be so loud it'll be ridiculous. But hey, if that's your thing, absolutely go ahead. Just see if the neighbors, it's up to you if you take off the neighbors or not. But anyway, like I said, I originally had just the red line. Oh man, there's a bird. Just the red line and there's the red line. Just the red line exhaust, muffler, and the high flow cat. But then that resonator definitely helped out. So there you have it. That is the 2.4 liter stage 2 kit from RPM Motorsports. Martin Scott, definitely give him a call if you're interested in doing that. He also has stage 2 and stage 3 kits if you have a Redline or a GXP. But if you have that base 2.4 like I have, and you just want to get a little bit extra, extra fun out of it, but you don't want to put the money into an actual turbo or supercharge or anything like that, that kit is well worth it. At least I feel it is. And who knows? I mean, maybe you can use this kit for a couple of years and save some money and then go turbo or go LS, swap an LS engine in there, do whatever you like. But for me, I got this stage 2. It's a lot of fun. I've been doing autocross with it, and I'm normally in second gear anyway, so I'm getting a little bit more in the straightaways with that kit on there, as opposed to whenever I first did autocross without the kit. So it's, like I said, for me, it's well worth it. Who knows what I'm going to do in the future, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy what I have now. If you like this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button. I'm trying to get as many likes and subscribers as possible. Spread the word. And if you do subscribe, they're going to put a little bell next to that subscribe button as well. Go ahead and push that, and then anytime I come up with new videos, it'll kind of give you a notification so you know I do have one that's out there. So until then, I believe this video is going to be over until I do my next mod.